And welcome to a new episode of The Simpsons Did It. I'm your host, Steven Skolansky.
And I'm your co-host, Dean Robert Skolansky. No, I'm not a dean.
Damn you, Dean! But we are going back to college.
Yes, we are. I actually did go back to college for about a year and a half, and then I got a full-time job and said, screw it.
Yeah.
I should have finished.
After I went to college, I'm like, studying sucks. I'm done with college.
Let's go prank the dean and run him over with our car.
Prank? Yeah. I mean, college was fun, right? Did you have as much fun in college as Homer had in college?
I think I probably had more fun than Homer did when I was in college. Not by a lot, because my university was more of what they call a suitcase college, where people go there for Monday through Friday and then they go home on the weekend. Because a lot of the kids that went to my college kind of lived in the area, so they're like, oh, I'm just gonna go home on the weekend. I'm like, this is college. You don't go home,
nerd.
Oh my god, I'm so happy that we're doing this episode, because there's some great lines in this episode.
Yeah, we're gonna do them all.
Yes, we are.
Everyone. So this week we are talking season 5, episode 3. Homer goes to college.
Woo!
Apparently Homer just never went to college.
Yeah, I got some questions in this episode.
Air date, October 14th, 1993.
Oh.
Yeah. It's middle of
closer
October.
To the end of the year, getting closer to another Treehouse of Horror.
Yep. Recap. Homer returns to college and tries to turn his collegiate experience into a rowdy riot. But
he didn't really return to college. He went to college.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever been to college.
I don't think so.
Unless he tried it once and then was like, not for me. Went to one class and was like, I don't want to do it. Learning sucks.
I think the Futurama episode where Fry goes back to college is significantly better than this episode, but this episode's still really good.
Yep. So chalkboard this week, none.
There's nothing this week.
We needed some extra time to prank the dean, to prank Springfield A&M.
No, they needed extra time for the end credits.
No, the end credits were the same speed and distance that
because they did the still images like they did in the Animal House movie.
Well, no, they did, but it was over the credits. The credits rolled over those stills, so they had no effect and bearing on the length of the credits.
I don't know. I don't know if they really needed extra time for this episode.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd always like to see the breakdown and see what additional stuff always gets added. So, the couch gag this week, we get a new one. Finally, it only took half a season. But this week, the family comes in and sits on the couch, like families do, and they're crushed by the Monty Python foot.
That was fantastic.
That was awesome. And this isn't the only Monty Python reference we're going to get this episode.
Nope.
So,
it is not.
So we know that these writers absolutely love Monty Python.
Yes. So we open up the episode on Homer at the nuclear power plant, sleeping on the job. Although we'll get to it in a second, but it's nap time at the power plant apparently. And there's also a dog by his side who's not Santa's little helper, so maybe it's like
it looks like a country dog, like a hound dog. Yeah.
I think that's what they're going for.
Because Homer was in a hammock, right?
No, Lenny was in a hammock.
Lenny was in a hammock. Was Homer in like a rocking chair? I'm trying to remember
No, he was just sleeping in his normal chair with his feet up on his workstation.
Did he have anything? Now I'm trying to remember all this. Did he have like anything in his mouth, like a piece of hay, like farmers do? No.
Nope, he was just sleeping.
I think that would have fit the dog a little bit more. Because you know how like farmers are always like lounging in their rocking chair on the porch and their dog sitting next to them and like that. I think that would have flowed a little bit more. Have like a nice little piece of hay coming out of his mouth or corncob pipe or something farmy related.
Yeah. So then we cut to Lenny, who's sleeping in a hammock in his area, but behind him there's open nuclear waste barrels.
Yeah.
I'm like, that doesn't seem safe.
Well, it's also a bunch of power plant workers sleeping on the job. Probably can't. Yeah. But it is nap time. You got to remember it's mandatory nap time.
Dude, I want mandatory nap. I want mandatory nap time at my work. Shit. But we can't really do that.
But don't you call that between the time of when you get there and the time you go on air?
Like, no, we actually work.
Oh, I thought you just wait for them to go on air. And
no. So then we cut back and we see there is a button on Homer's console that says "Plant Destruct. Please do not touch, or please do not push." Why does this button exist?
Because just in case. Okay, look, if something bad goes on at the plant and you need a quick way out, that's the button. But I definitely think it shouldn't be at Homer's workstation. I'd say let the button exist, because you never know what's going to happen. You might need to have a fast exit, because we know how evil Mr. Burns is. FBI could raid the place and he needs to melt the place down. That's a quick button.
But then why wouldn't that button be in Mr. Burns' office?
That's what I'm saying. Homer's workstation, not a good place for it.
No, because as he's sleeping, now remember when we first see him, he's like leaning back in his chair, and somehow like he falls forward, face plants into this button, and starts the core meltdown process. But the dog wakes up and pulls a lever that saves the plant. He's such a good boy.
Good boy.
He's a good boy. Good boy.
No, the automation says good boy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Good boy.
Good boy.
So, like, the automation knew that Homer had a dog that was going to do this?
No. That's the safety dog. That's the safety inspector dog. He fills in for Homer when he's napping.
Yeah. So then we cut to Mr. Burns, who's also taking a nap, and you can see on his monitor all the employees taking naps because it's nap time.
It is nap time.
And we even see Mr. Smithers like curled up in a ball at Mr. Burns' feet, sleeping on the ground, kind of like, a pet dog would. And he's even doing like the dog dream thing where his leg is kicking and he's making sounds, and it's really good. So then we cut to the outside, and the nuclear inspection van pulls up, and we get the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, or the NRC, which, for those of you who don't know, is actually a real independent agency of the United States government, which is tasked with protecting public health and safety related to nuclear energy. And it was founded in January of 1975. So, it's been around for a while. I don't know if that was in response to anything, or because when was Chernobyl? Was that the 80s?
Yeah, so I feel like Chernobyl probably should have had a Nuclear Inspection Regulatory Commission.
Well, it's Russia, so I mean, they showed up for a surprise inspection of worker competence. I don't know if that's a real thing the NRC does.
I feel like it has to be. I mean, you want to make sure that everyone at a nuclear facility knows what they're doing.
Yeah, but you figure like the nuclear plant would have an HR and good hiring ethics. I mean, granted, this is Mr. Burns.
Well, no, look at regular cities. So cities have like the food inspector that'll go to restaurants and make sure everything is up to code.
Yeah, but that's up to code. They're not there to make sure the employees are competent.
They probably should.
I mean, probably. And so they come in, or they're trying to get into Mr. Burns' office. I love how he's like, no, this isn't a nuclear power plant. We make cookies.
No, this must be some mistake. We make cookies here. Mr. Burns' old-fashioned good time, extra chewy. And then they're like, break down the door.
Yeah, they break down his door with an axe.
Now, was that his office door or the door to get into the power plant itself?
I think it was his office door, because they were definitely inside.
Okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't quite tell, because it was like a doorbell on the outside, but I was like, why would there be a doorbell on the outside of his office?
I don't know. Maybe they were outside. I don't know. But you figure they could just get in. I mean, yeah. I'm sure they have a lobby at the power plant.
Yep.
So we cut back to Burns. He's telling Smithers that he hates the NRC, but Smithers tells him not to worry. He gathered up all the less intelligent employees and put them in the basement. And this reminded me of the episode where Skinner put Bart and the bullies in the basement.
Yup.
Well, what were they down there for? Oh, Superintendent Chalmers.
Yes. Yeah.
So, and the reason the employees were put in the basement, not to get mountain bikes, but to guard a bee.
Yes, the very important plant B.
Yes. And the employees that are in the basement are, of course, Homer, Bernie, and some other random schmo that looks like Bernie.
Yeah. And they're apparently dumber than Homer. I didn't know that was possible, but
I know.
So then, how did those guys get a job there?
Maybe they're related to Mr. Burns. I don't know. And so Homer is like telling the guys, well, that's why Smithers put me in charge of the bee. And so he like leans back in his chair, kicks over the jar holding the bee, and the bee like flies away. So Homer runs after it. And the basement is leaking nuclear waste.
Yep. Yeah, just dripping everywhere. Now, see, I feel like these inspectors shouldn't be here for competence. They need to send back the the people that were there for the German episode. The people that actually were there to make the plant safe. I feel like that is more important than worker competence. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So after Homer's running through the basement, the inspector's outside like, is Homer Simpson present? And Smithers responds is awesome. Homer couldn't be here. Edward's like, well, Homer's at a Geneva Convention on nuclear fission. And
no, he's in Geneva, which is a real place, not the Geneva Convention.
Oh, right. He's in Geneva. Sorry. I don't know why I thought that. But yeah, he's in Geneva on a nuclear fission conference, and Homer just busts up through the manhole. So clearly, Burns put him in the the bare basement of the nuclear power plant. He had to be away as far as he could. But apparently, a manhole led right to the outside where they were. Yep. And Homer's like, "A bee bit me, and now my bottom's big."
Yeah, the bee got into his pants.
And stung him, and Homer's got a big butt now.
Yeah.
Oh, that was great. So they put Homer in the simulator. That's an exact replica of his workplace.
Yes.
And so you see Burns kind of in his office like the watchdog of public safety. Is there any lower life form?
Yes, lawyers. I mean...
Oh, we get to the lawyers next. Well, very soon. But so, Homer manages to make the van. He's like, all right, just push buttons until they let you go. He just starts poking buttons, and all of a sudden the van starts shaking, and it makes it green. And so Bird jumps into his escape pod, which locks Smithers out. And the funny thing about this is, now if I'm not mistaken, Spaceballs was out before this episode, right? That was 80s.
Correct. Spaceballs was 80s, and also so was Star Wars.
Well, I knew that, but Spaceballs was 87. So this reminded me when President Screw ran to his escape pod, and who was Dark Helmet was going to jump. He's like, sorry, only space for one, and then it turns out there was a bear in there anyways.
Yes.
But that kind of reminded me of that scene. But yes, it was kind of like I feel like more like a Star Wars reference where
that part was definitely I would give you the Spaceballs reference, but the escape pod looked very similar to the one that C-3PO.
Because did President Screw even say I'd like to put my feet up too when he jumped in? I feel like he did.
Maybe this was a Spaceballs reference.
That's great, though. I mean, but the funny thing is, Spaceballs reference was a Star Wars reference.
Yes, and the escape pod, in my opinion, did look very similar to the one that C-3PO and R2-D2 used in A New Hope.
Yep, but their escape pod worked a lot better than Burns's. Burns's just shot out and rolled out into the parking lot, all crumbled and. Like, it didn't even just crash and slide. It wound up all like crumbly, and apparently Burns is dead.
Well, it shot out of the building, It went like 20 feet, landed, and then bounced.
Yeah. But if it was made of good material, it probably would have just hit the concrete and slid across the concrete, not got all crumbled up. And boy, Burns needs to put more money into, his escape pod budget.
Yes.
So then we cut back to the van, and the van just sinks into the ground, and over comes out very radioactive, glowing intensely, and he's ferociously must destroy mankind. And then his watch alarm goes off, and I like how the green just fades, and he like shakes it up. Ooh, lunchtime.
Yeah. Is that like, so him coming out of the hole in the ground, is that a reference to like maybe the Hulk or something?
No, I don't think so. I mean, maybe. I mean, most Hulk references when it comes to, like, Hulk was in a nuclear blast. Yeah. But I don't know if he ever climbed out of the ground all safe. I guess I don't know. I don't know much about Hulk's origin story. But we cut back to Burns' office, and the NRCH is like, I'm still not sure how he caused the meltdown. There wasn't any nuclear material in the truck. Oh, very well. It's time for your bribe. Now you can either have the washer and dryer where the lovely Smithers is standing, or you can trade it all in for what's in this box. The box! The box!
So, yeah, I love the fact. So that little reference there with Smithers is a reference to the show Let's Make a Deal.
Yep. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
God, I didn't realize that. I knew Let's Make a Deal was old, but geez.
Yeah, no, Let's Make a Deal's been around for a while. The Wayne Brady one, I watch that every once in a while, like if I just catch it while it's on TV because I'm home in the middle of the day or at work. And it's still pretty funny, but I feel like it's overkill at this point. I'm like, let that one die. But yeah, I do like how the new washer and dryer, or the mystery box, was used in the Simpsons Tapped Out mobile game.
Yeah, well, just the mystery box, not the washer and dryer.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's funny. I think that's a good pull for that game, and utilizing something that was very funny in the show.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll take the box. Would you take the box or the washer and dryer?
Can I get the boat?
The boat. I don't think a boat fits in a box.
No, that's the Family Guy reference.
Oh, right.
They do that in Family. They do that in Family Guy where everybody takes the boat, and Peter's like, "I'll take the mystery box." Yeah. The boat is a boat, but the mystery box could be anything, like a boat.
Like a boat. Yes. Remember, folks.
I'm pretty sure Family Guy ripped off the Simpsons.
Remember, folks. The Simpsons did it first. Well, I guess Let's Make a Deal made it first, but the Simpsons did it first in an animated sitcom.
Yes.
So the guy wants the box, but the lady butts in and says, "Birds, you can't just throw money at a problem and make it go away." And then you see Quimby walk, because apparently Quimby was there. Maybe Quimby was there for like the inspection bribe.
Yes,
because it's a city related thing.
Yes,
and so Quimby walks in wearing a fur coat with a $5,000 price tag still on it, saying there won't be an investigation. So I'm guessing I would say, well, either that's in reference to the meltdown fiasco from Homer, or the poor quality of the plant.
Probably both.
Yeah, probably both. I'd say both.
But the weird thing is, I don't know if Quimby has any pull here, because he's just the mayor, and the NRC is, federal.
Yeah, that'd probably be more the governor. But I don't think, do we ever meet the governor of the state that the Springfield is in?
Yes. But she doesn't. I think it's a woman, if I remember correctly.
Oh, right. Wasn't that was the Blinky episode? When Burns ran for, or was he running for mayor?
Yeah, it was a woman, but they never say what state they live in. Yeah, because he's running for governor.
Yeah, that's right. And like, I think when they go up on stage, there's the plaque, and their heads are covering the state that the Springfield is in.
Yes, something like that.
Cool. See, guys, we're even 5 seasons in, and we can still remember things that happened several seasons ago. So the inspector tells Burns that Homer's job requires college training in nuclear physics. And according to the Way We Was episode, Homer had a meeting with his guidance counselor and how to get to know Marge, and the guidance counselor gives him a job brochure for the Springfield nuclear power plant, remarking that it's one of the few remaining jobs that will not require a university education. So I feel like it probably should have been. But during this episode, when Mr. Burns is being reprimanded by the regulators, one tells him that Homer Simpson's job requires college-level training in nuclear physics. So, I don't know. I mean,
it's possible. So, now remember, when Homer started at the plant, he was like a low-level employee.
Yeah.
So, maybe when his first job, he didn't need it. And then when he became safety inspector, he did need it.
Yeah, it's probably more required after he,
So I'm wondering, but here's the thing. So obviously Homer got the job of safety inspector after the plant strikes over the dental plan.
He basically, no, not the dental plan. What you call it?
Oh, yeah, you're right. What was it?
What was the reason he got saved? Well, no, because he got fired for something, right? He got fired.
Yeah.
And then he, developed the stop sign and the speed bump. And
that's what it was.
And then Burns rehired him as safety inspector.
Which, I mean, I feel like Burns and Smithers should have known what that job required.
Yep. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Someone smart.
So, Homer needs to go to college. And I love the fact that Burns is he tells the inspectors he feels they will be dropping the charges and hits a big button on his desk and a trapdoor opens. And we find out that the door is not where the inspectors are standing because they moved the desk so that painters could paint.
Yeah.
And they did move it because it's usually in front of the window, but it's by the bookcase.
Exactly. So they shifted his whole office around to do painting. Yeah. Because I'm guessing you don't have to paint a bookcase where all the TV monitors are. So they kind of shifted his office around, but that's where the trap door was supposed to be. But apparently Burns does have a wireless trap door system.
Not necessarily.
Well, no. If his desk is at one spot and it controls the trap door, but he moves his desk to another spot, they'd have to unplug that cable connected to the trap door to move his desk.
That's fine. And
I don't think the painters would replug back in a trapdoor.
Maybe Burns plugged it back in, or Smithers did.
But then he would know the desk is in the wrong spot to make the trapdoor work.
But Burns doesn't remember a lot.
He remembers everything but Homer's name.
Yeah. So then Burns has to go to the Simpsons house, and he goes with a bunch of lawyers, which is weird, but okay. And Homer goes to the door. He screams because he sees Burns. And I love how Burns like, me and my lawyers were just in the neighborhood. And Marge comes over and she invites him in for tea and marshmallow squares, which I'm assuming are Rice Krispie squares.
Yeah, probably they couldn't get the rights to say Rice Krispies because it's a brand name.
Yeah. And I love how the lawyers talk amongst themselves before agreeing that Mr. Burns would like to come in. Like, is there some sort of liability if Marge invites him in and he agrees? Like,
well, remember, Burns is a vampire.
No, that's Count Chocula.
No. In the Halloween episode, he's a vampire. So
that's non-canon.
If he's a vampire, he has to be invited into the home.
And Marge invited him into the home, but the lawyers talked about it.
Exactly. They wanted to make sure it was safe.
Oh my God. No. Halloween is non-canon. So Homer says that they want them to go to college, and Bart laughs and he goes, barber or clown?
Yeah, he's like, Marge, try to understand. There are two kinds of college students.
No, you are way ahead.
Sorry, that's not that part.
No, it is not. Incidentally, Homer does go to clown college later to be Krusty the Clown.
Yep. Yeah.
And so Burns,
he never goes to barber college.
Nope, he never goes to barber college. So then Burns tells Homer that his job and his family's future depend on him passing nuclear physics 101. And then he's like, and Homer, you must find the Jade Monkey before the next full moon. And then Smithers is like, but we found the Jade Monkey in your glove compartment. And he's like, what about the road maps and the ice scraper? Those were in there too. Excellent. The Jade Monkey is a reference to the movie The Maltese Falcon.
Yep. Yeah. I like when they get this. This is always great.
Yeah. So then, Marge and Homer are talking about it. Marge is like, oh, this is a great opportunity. And Homer agrees. And he's like, I always wanted to go to college, but fate got in the way.
Yep. And because he's talking to his counselor again, I guess.
Yep.
And he's like, all I need you to do is fill out this college essay. And rather than signing the application, which would have automatically granted him admission to college, he rushed outside to fight a dog over a ham.
And then the counselor is like, oh, well, he's not coming back, balls up the application and throws it away.
Yep. Yeah. That's so great. But then now Homer's filling out the college application, and Lisa's like, Dad, don't let these application essays throw you. Let's see. Reading. List your 3 favorite books and how they've influenced your life. Is TV Guide a book? No. Son of Sniglet? No. Katharine Hepburn's Me? No. I suck. Because apparently...
how is the TV Guide not a book?
Yeah, it tells you things he read to Lisa as a baby.
Yeah. So then, we go to Homer. He's on the floor writing his essay, and Bart is sitting on the couch drinking a Buzz Cola, and we hear Homer saying what he's writing. It's the most I ever threw up, and it changed my life forever.
Oh, that's so great.
And so Bart's like, Homer, you're the man. And he comes down, and the last thing he has to do is put a picture with the essay, which I don't ever recall having to do when I had to write my college essays.
No, I don't think so. But remember, he's applying for like Springfield Community College. So,
well, we don't know where he's applying because he applied to several colleges.
Oh, right. That's right. Yeah.
And so he puts a picture of himself in the little square that says, paste picture here, and it's him eating an entire cake.
Yep. Well, he had to prove that he ate the whole cake.
Yeah.
That's the whole purpose of it. That's the whole purpose of that story, is he had to prove that he ate the whole cake.
Which he did, and he threw up, and it changed his life forever.
It did. Yeah.
I don't know how, but it did. So then, Bart is like, Homer, don't you have a different picture? And Homer's like, the picture won't make a difference. He's not particularly wrong, but he's not particularly right, because we cut to a college admissions people, and they blew up the picture, and they're like, Homer is crazy. Reading this essay would waste valuable seconds.
Yep.
Oh, God, that's hilarious. It's funny because I was watching the episode. I had a buddy come over, and I was watching this scene, and they say that, and he laughed. So it's a great scene. It's a great scene.
Yep. Oh, yeah. And so next we cut to Bart watching a commercial where they're putting Worcestershire sauce into soda. Steaky.
Oh, Worcestershire sauce. That'll end any kid in a spelling bee.
Yep. But it must taste very good in soda if you like steaky flavored soda.
Well, Steve, you drink more soda than I do, so you let me know.
Yeah. No, I don't think I've had a steaky soda before.
No, I'm telling you to put Worcestershire sauce into a soda and tell me how it tastes.
Oh, okay. All right. I will not try that. I don't think so. But Homer tells Bart that there's a show about campus life that he really should watch. And he turns on School of Hard Knockers. God. So like a National Lampoon style show.
Yeah, Animal House.
Animal House. And at first I saw the title. I'm like, is Homer gonna watch a porn in in front of Bart? But then I kind of was like, I guess it's more of a reference to Animal House. And we get Bitterman and the president of, or was it the dean? Bitterman was the dean, and then the president of the United States. Oh, was the president of the United States?
Yes.
I guess I wasn't paying attention. I thought maybe president of the university. But he's like walking through campus, talking about how good it is. And then you cut to the nerd and the jock. And he's like, this better work. And then he sets off a bra bomb, and it starts raining. Bras literally everywhere. And, the president starts dancing under him. He's like, lighten up, Bitterman. That youngster will make a perfect addition to my cabinet. Secretary of Partying Down. Yep. I like how the kid's name. So Corey was the jock, and the nerd's name was Nerdlinger.
Yeah, Nerdlinger. Good times.
Yep. And so now we're in the kitchen, and Homer gets all of his college response letters, and he opens them up one at a time. Dough, woohoo! A flyer for a hardware store. Dough. Apparently, he couldn't get into any colleges.
No,
it makes sense.
Well, did you see his essay?
Man, I might be interested in the guy that ate the whole thing. I mean, that was Homer's quote from high school. I can't believe I ate the whole thing. This guy could be very interesting. So Bart asks Homer what he's going to do, and Homer responds by saying that this is something he should have done a long time ago. And then he just stands there until Marge asks, "You don't know what you're going to do you?" No. I mean, I've kind of felt like that sometimes where I'm like, I got to do something. I don't know what it is.
Oh God, I've had that feeling so much, like this past year, where it's like this weekend, I'm like, there's something I want to do, and then like I can't for the life of me remember what it is.
Yeah, like I don't remember. Don't remember at all. So, Homer goes to Burns, and Burns tells him not to worry because he has a chair at Springfield University. And it's a literal chair. But he's on the board anyway. Yes. But it's a demonic, like 7-foot tall chair.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. And he's got a hound with him.
Well, yes. It's attached to the chair by a chain. Because obviously that hound would rip apart all the other board members.
Yes, he would.
Yep. And so Burns says he looks at the admissions office like a baseball team. It takes teamwork. And, he kind of keeps going off and using baseball references. And I like how he tries to hit the one admission guy over the head because he, said that Homer was, no good. But it has no effect because Burns is old and can't, can't injure him at all. And then I like how Burns falls down and he's like, Smithers, prepare the corpse and send, a candy basket or something to his widow. Flowers to his widow.
You missed the reference.
I was going to get there. I haven't said it yet. Shush. And so this is a reference to the 1987 Untouchables movie.
Yeah.
Which I have not seen.
I've heard it's really good.
Yeah. I've heard it's a very good mob movie. And so
did they do a remake of that?
I don't think so. But then again, I don't know. Yeah. But I like how the guy's like, man, if you wanted Homer in that bad, why didn't you just say so? Because beating you with a baseball bat is more fun.
Yes, it is.
Yep. And so Homer gets his acceptance letter, and he decides to burn his GED, which he calls his high school diploma.
Two very, very different things. Because Homer went to night school to get his general education certificate. A high school diploma is what you get when you graduate high school, which he did not do.
But a GED is equal to graduating high school.
It equals it, but there are two separate things.
Yes. But Homer doesn't know that because he is, as we now know, he is so smart, SMRT. God, I love this line. That is, oh my God. I use that all the time in everyday lexicon.
I am so smart. I am so smart. SMRT. I mean, SMRT. Rumor has it. I really like this. I hope this is true. Dan Castellaneta, who voices Homer, actually misread his line, but the producers liked it so much they kept it in because it went with Homer's stupidity. I really hope that is true.
Well, I mean, the rhyming scheme makes so sense. Like, I feel like the rhyming scheme where it's like, I am smart, SMART. I guess you can kind of fit it in if you say it correctly, you could probably fit that A in. But I feel like the SMRT is a better flow. Like it just flows.
It does flow. It flows better. But I can, I was trying to listen to see if there was maybe a pause or something, and it now maybe because I looked this up and then I watched it, maybe I was a little biased, but like it almost did seem to me like kind of a screw up, but I don't know. I just don't know because it flows, as you said, it flows so well.
Yeah, exactly.
I am gonna go with the fact that this was a mess up because I think it makes it so much better.
It does, yes. And
I think it makes it so much better that Castellaneta screwed up his line because it fits Homer so well.
Oh, it does. Oh, I mean, it's absolutely perfect, and I love it. So we go to Springfield University, which was established in 1952, which, I mean, aren't most universities of city, like if a city has a university, isn't it? Aren't they usually like established around the time of conception of a city or not really?
I don't think that's true.
No, because I feel like University of Wisconsin-Madison was, I'd say that's an old college. I mean, it's been around since the early 90s. I mean, granted, Madison was probably established in like the late 1800s. I guess I don't know when Wisconsin became a state.
Wisconsin became a state, I believe, in the 1850s.
Okay, so yeah, and I guess we're not going to do math on it or anything, but I feel like, so if a city's established, a college comes generally, I feel like somewhere within the next couple decades.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but 1952, I feel like Springfield was around. Springfield was established in like late 1800s, like 1882 or 86 or something crazy like that, according to Jebediah Springfield, anyway.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I don't know. I think it really just depends. I was close. It was admitted into the Union May of 1848.
Okay. So I guess depending on when the state of Springfield is in was established, could lead that. I mean, I guess it could make sense. So anyway, their motto or the tag.
You might actually be onto something. The University of Wisconsin-Madison was founded in July of 1848.
See, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I feel like any major college. Now we don't know if Springfield's the capital, so that's where this kind of draws the line a little bit. Springfield. Oh, I guess Capital City would be the capital of the state Springfield is in.
Capital City. Only has the word capital in it.
Yeah. So, but to be fair, I guess not every city obviously has a college. But I feel like Springfield is a small city. It's not like a major.
It's like a town of 30,000.
Yep. So it'd be more like Parkside, like in Kenosha. Like when did Kenosha become a city versus when did Parkside become a college, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's a sign on the Springfield University that says, "Ask about our Latin motto contest."
Because every college has a freaking Latin motto.
But Springfield.
Don't ask me about my college because I have no idea.
Yeah, but Springfield's college unfortunately has not got a motto yet, but they're having a contest for it.
Yes.
And so
no, because that was like on the sign where it says established. So maybe that is their motto.
Oh, ask about our Latin motto contest? But it's not even in Latin.
Exactly.
So as Marge drives Homer to college, Homer can't believe, it's his first day in college, and he wishes his father was alive. Apparently Abe just wasn't sleeping in the backseat. Must be a Monday. Yep. Must be a Monday because they were going to drop Abe back off at the old folks' home on Sunday night, but they forgot about him. So he slept in the backseat
because
of the car.
Abe was in the car for 3 days.
So since Friday? So
maybe
because you would have started college on a Monday because, first day of class on a Monday.
But you're telling me they didn't take the car out anywhere over the weekend?
Well, they have 2 cars in their family.
You're telling me they didn't take both cars out over the weekend?
Why? Me and Shay we have 2 cars. We take my car way more than her car.
But she doesn't run errands by herself on the weekend?
I mean, sometimes. It
like you work on Saturday. You're telling me she doesn't take her car out on Saturdays?
Sometimes no. Sometimes they spend the whole day at the house. So it's definitely possible. We'll call it plausible.
Okay.
And so Marge parks the car and a guy with glasses walks out and Homer yells, "Nerd!"
Oh my God, I love it. Oh, yep. I still use it. Yep. Still use it.
And Marge is like, Marge, try to understand. There are two kinds of college students, jocks and nerds. And as a jock, it is my duty to give nerds a hard time. And then, you know, he goes up to a jock. And he's like, did you check out that nerd? What?
Oh,
but God. I do like how, you know, the jock is holding a book. I feel like they're trying to signify, you know, jocks can be nerds too.
Correct. But I mean, I played soccer and I was somewhat of a smart student.
Yeah, I feel like this day and age, unfortunately, I don't know if nerd and jock can be thrown around as freely as it was in the 90s.
They really can't. I don't think so, because a lot of smart kids play sports, and a lot of kids who play sports are smart kids. I think it's interchangeable. I think here's the thing. I think it's always kind of been interchangeable. Obviously, maybe back in like the 60s and 70s, you know, you had like these cliques of students. But I feel like even then, you probably still had kids who played sports who were really, really smart.
Well, I'm sure you did, but they're thinking of nerd as the person that sits out at a computer and doesn't play sports. Correct. They're literally computer nerds.
Yeah.
Who try to make a robot woman, like in Weird Science.
Yeah. Yeah, I love, so then after all that, we go to the freshman mixer. Welcome to the freshman mixer. And, you know, Homer, being an adult, decides, you know what, we need to liven up this party a little bit. So he spikes the punch and, he's like, I'm going to be a legend. So some kid comes up, drinks it, and realizes the punch has been spiked and stops the band from playing. And he's like, hey, everyone. The punch has been spiked. Don't worry, we called your parents, and they'll be on their way shortly to pick you up. And all the kids cheer.
Yep. So I feel like this is so... I mean, I don't know if the joke is all, like, schools were so, like, hardcore alcohol, like, we got to drink, spiking the punch is fun, and this was kind of like that twist of fate on it. Or if it was just being so progressive that, because nowadays you go to any school and it's all, I feel maybe not as party heavy, not as, you know, spiking the punch. Everyone's, you know, not as crazy as colleges were back then.
Okay, when's the last time you visited the University of Minnesota?
Let's see, what year is it?
2021.
Okay, let me think. So in 2000, I think I figured out 2011 or 12 was my last year doing the ski and snowboard club trips.
Okay.
So it's probably then.
So 10 years?
Yeah.
Okay, I was in Madison about a couple months ago, from when this episode actually airs, for a Badger game. And let me tell you, they still party hard for a Badgers game. That has not changed. I remember the first time I went to a Badger game in I think it was like 2015. Same thing. And like the game I went to was a Big Ten game this last time. The first game I went to was for some college that's out of conference and small. And the kids were still partying hard.
So Springfield, what you're saying is Springfield University is a nerd school.
Nerd. Yes, it is. Okay. So Homer's like, somebody squeeze the life out of these kids. And unless TV shows and movies have lied to me, the culprit is a crusty, bitter old dean. And the dean of the university gets up on stage, and he doesn't seem bitter, he doesn't seem crusty, and he definitely isn't old. He's some like young guy dean. And he's a hip young guy, and he addresses the freshman crowd, and he tells them he used to be the bass player for the Pretenders.
So I feel like, God, this is just so progressive, because back then,
that's the joke, Steve.
No, I know.
That is literally, I'm going to be Andy McElfresh right now. That is the joke.
Yeah, but so this episode, I feel, would play so well now. Like, of a lot of these early Simpsons episodes, this one Well, I don't even know if it'd be a joke now. Now you would watch this episode. Like, you would watch this episode. Oh, of course the dean is a millennial, kid that wants to make everyone also
But
happy.
again, in the context in 1993, this is a parody. That is the joke.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
They're making fun of National Lampoon movies. Well, I'm being Andy McElfresh and squeezing the life out of you.
No, but I'm just saying, like, you play this episode now, they're like, it's not a joke. It's literally real now. Like, it's kind of funny. And kind of tying into, I was listening to my radio show this morning, and they were actually talking about how, like, college coaches are all the players coach. Like, coaches aren't yelling at kids anymore and yelling at athletes and, you know, making a big fuss. Like, nowadays it's all, let's play for the athletes. Athletes are, you know, the future, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, okay, well, I get it now.
Mental abuse is no joke.
Well, no, I know, but it's kind of funny that this episode would play so perfectly now.
You know, and speaking, and this kind of ties in to, like, you're saying, like, you know, athletes are, you know, treated with respect like they, you know, probably should be. Urban Meyer, who was the coach for because he was fired, granted that is common knowledge probably by now, there was a story that came out where the field goal kicker said Meyer kicked him in his leg because I guess he must have missed a couple of field goals or something, and like, that's the kind of coach you don't want.
Yep, exactly. So it's definitely a big change. It's definitely a big change, and this dean I feel like is the dean of today.
Yeah. So now we go to Homer attending his first class, and the professor, you know, makes some sciencey joke, and everybody laughs at it except for Homer because he doesn't get it. But then the professor drops his notes, and Homer laughs, but nobody else does, because he found it hilarious that an old guy the professor dropped his notes.
Yep.
Again, this is, you know, that is the joke of this episode of making fun of those movies.
Yep.
So then they get done with class, you know, and the professor says, you know, there's a review session after every class, which I don't know if a lot of colleges do that nowadays. I didn't really have that when I was in college, only because my major did not.
I feel like they were called. So what was that thing that you didn't have to attend? So you had your major class, and then you had your other, was it not a lab? I can't remember. We had that at the University of Minnesota where it was not mandatory to go to. It was just a supplemental class, basically. Obviously, you should go to it because, you know, it's more of a...
I think that's more for like the sciences, though.
Yes, that's like, where... Yes, that's...
Because, like, I was a communications major, and we really didn't have, you know, review class. I mean, don't get me wrong, I did a crap load of group projects, which obviously I need to attend, but no, we didn't have review sessions after every class. I love how Homer's like, so are they mandatory? And the professor's like, no. So Homer's like, so long, suckers, and he runs outside and he starts chasing a couple squirrels.
Yep. Yeah.
So then, you know, Homer returns home, and he's turned his bedroom at home into his dorm room.
Yep.
And he's got a poster of the comedian W.C. Fields on the wall, as well as scientist Albert Einstein. And it's the picture with his tongue sticking out.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, so, there's posters of ballerina feet as well.
Yes, sir.
Which is kind of funny. No, it's Homer's like, you know what? I'm going to have the full college experience. I'm turning our room into my dorm room.
And so he's made his own bookcase with cinder blocks, and
which was the style at the time.
And so you know, Marge is like, we have a perfectly good bookcase downstairs, but this one's made out of cinder blocks, which I swiped from a construction site. And so, you know, we cut to the future site of a children's hospital.
Yep.
Very generic. And some worker comes up to the foreman. He's like, "Sir, we have 6 cinder blocks missing." And the foreman's like, "Well, I guess we can't build the hospital. I'll go tell the children." It's like, aren't cinder blocks like a couple bucks? Can't you just go to the hardware store and buy a couple more?
Yeah, probably. No, that makes complete sense. But it's funny. This is a when I saw this, I'm like, oh, this was the episode where this came from. Because over the last probably 7-8 months, this has been memed a lot.
Really?
Yeah. Like, there's so many very funny memes related to this exact scene. You should join the. You really should join the Simpson board posting Facebook group.
I thought I was. Maybe I'm not.
Join it. It's a very, very funny group. If you guys want a very funny Simpsons group out there, go join it. The Simpsons board posting group. It's absolutely hilarious.
Okay. So now we cut back to a class, and the professor is trying to show the students how a proton accelerator works, but Homer interrupts, and he's like, I know how that works. I worked at a nuclear power plant for 10 years. So the professor's like, all right, well, if you know how it works, show me. And Homer, does something crazy because the classroom goes nuclear again, like the van did, even though I'm sure there's no nuclear properties in the proton accelerator.
Homer just can turn anything nuclear.
Yeah. So, Homer walks out and a couple guys with suits on come by and he's like, in there, guys. Thanks, Homer. So clearly these guys are probably from the power plant.
Well, yeah. I mean,
like,
who else is going to be able to take care of that except people that work at the nuclear power plant?
That was great, though. So, like, thanks, Homer.
Yep.
Because they know who he is.
Yeah. And
because he's the one that causes all these accidents.
Yep. But I like how the dean is so nice to all the college students that he doesn't expel them. He just tells Homer that he's going to need some outside tutoring. And so he gives Homer some names. And he's like, you've won this round, Dean. But the war isn't over. Yeah.
Homer.
That was pretty good. And so then he goes out to the parking lot and prank phone calls the dean. He's like, hello, Dean. You are a stupid head. And the dean's like, Homer, is this you? And he looks out his window and Homer's on a payphone and screams and runs away. Oh, that's great. God, Homer just thinks he's going to get the best of that dean.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think he's watched too many Animal House movies.
Yep. Oh, yeah. And college movies in general. So you got Animal House. You got
National Lampoon.
No, that is National Lampoon.
Oh, that's
Revenge of the Nerds. Yep. You got Porky's. Well, Porky's was high school or was that college?
I think that was college. But I will tell you this much: Revenge of the Nerds did not age well.
No. But it's still a classic movie, so kids watch it. So Homer goes to visit the soon-to-be nerds that will be hopefully tutoring him. He goes to room 222, which is the home of Benjamin, Doug, and Gary's dorm room. And 222 is a reference to the TV show Room 222, which was created by James L. Brooks.
Nice.
So that's
nice little
awesome.
Easter egg.
Yeah. And the phrases the nerds use when Homer greets them, intruder alert, and stop the humanoid, are from the 1980 arcade game Berserk.
Yeah, nice.
So that's a pretty good pull. I like when now their references are starting to get a little bit more modern. Not
a little bit.
We're starting to get some stuff that me and Robert understand.
Yeah.
And so yes. And so Homer's like, yeah, I need a physics tutor. Do you guys know physics? Oh, the nerds know physics, math, and all the words to every Monty Python routine. And they proceed to do and we are the knights who say, knee, 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 knee.
And Homer laughs and he's like,
knee. Oh, that's great. And so Homer's at dinner with his family and he tells them that he played Dragons and Dungeons for 3 hours before
Dungeons and Dragons, you plebeian.
Dragons and Dungeons. I want to play that game. That game sounds more fun. But yes, he played Dungeons and Dragons for 3 hours, and I like Homer's like, I've been slain until I was slain by an elf. And
I gotta ask my friends who play that game if that's possible.
Oh, I'm sure you roll that dice just right. It's probably rare, but it happens. It's rare, but it happens.
Yeah.
And so I like how Bart calls Homer out for hanging out with nerds. And Homer threatens Bart before Marge says, like, you're clearly hanging out with nerds.
She's like, oh, Homer, those boys sound nice, but those are clearly nerds.
Yeah. And I like how Lisa butts in. It's like, nerds are not to be feared, and names off some classic nerds like Orville Redenbacher, the creator of the popcorn, and rock star David Bryan from the Byrne from the Talking Heads, and Supreme Court Justice David Souter, not Souter. I love how Homer has all this respect for Supreme Court justices. Yeah. Maybe it's just his prepping Bart to become a Supreme Court justice.
Maybe.
Like Homer's love for Supreme Court justices is what makes Bart want to become a Supreme Court justice, to be good in the eyes of his father.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yep.
I like it. And so Homer goes back to the dorm room, and he's just lounging on the thing. He's like, Homer, we got to study. You got to know the entire periodic table if you want to pass this class. I'll write it on my hand. All the Altoids and...
Altoids,
yeah.
Altoids,
yes.
If you don't know the word, don't say it.
Oh, I will say it because it's funny. And he's like, yeah, all the such and such and Altoids. He's like, good luck. Which is awesome. And so Homer's like, you guys have just forgotten the meaning of college. And as they're walking out of the dorm room, we see a poster for Space Mutants 5.
Nice.
Very
nice.
That was pretty cool. I wish it was Space Mutants like 1 or 2 or something classic. Because nerds are not the best when it comes with future sequels.
Yeah.
Most nerds like bashing on the future sequels, but they love the originals. So yeah. I think I would have loved to see a original Space Mutants poster on their dorm room wall.
Yeah. So, Homer, wants to show the nerds the true meaning of college and decides it's time to take a road trip. And he packs the station wagon full of beer. But Marge
this is a classic Animal House reference.
Yeah, but Marge wants him to take, Bart and Lisa. He's like, but Marge, we're trying to party down. And so they end up going to the Springfield Petting Zoo. Because
that's where you go party down, man.
Well, he's with the kids. He can't go drink beer and get drunk with the kids. Even though
how many times has Homer taken Bart, Lisa, and Maggie to Moe's?
Not that often.
What are you talking about? The episode where Bart comes into the thing when I can't remember the reason. We'll get to that episode, but he comes to the thing and Bart sits to pick Homer up.
Into this point, Bart and Lisa and Maggie have probably only been at Moe's like once each.
I don't know. I feel like it's been several times.
It has not been several times. I mean, they might have alluded to several times, but we've only seen it a couple of times.
Yes.
So, I love how one of the nerds is like, I have to go to the bathroom. And Lisa's like all annoyed. I thought you went at the park. Somebody knocked on the door.
Yeah. Well, nerds are bladder shy, man.
Okay. It's not just nerds. It's other people.
Sure.
I'm sure there's plenty of people out there who have shy bladders and they're not nerds. So anyway, we cut back to the nerds dorm room where Bart is with them now, but not Lisa. Lisa got dropped back off at home maybe. And on the wall, there's a poster with 4 guys on it with like layered hats on that look like Devo, which is kind of cool. And so, Homer's like, all right, we should pull a prank. How about this? We roll up the dean into a carpet and throw him off a bridge. And he just starts laughing, and like the nerds and even Bart are just looking at him weird. And it's like, I'm pretty sure that's not a prank. I'm pretty sure that is murder.
But really isn't every prank vandalism or some kind of crime?
I don't think like Ding Dong Ditch is a crime. It's annoying, but I don't think it's a crime. Granted, I don't think you can get away with Ding Dong Ditch anymore because a lot of people have Ring doorbells or like video doorbells.
Yeah, but remember, good luck with that. But I feel like putting a flaming bag of poop on someone's porch is a crime. That's arson. It's funny.
No. Putting a flaming bag of poop on the porch is not arson unless the house catches fire.
Yes, but it's the start of a crime. Okay,
Yeah.
We'll host a new podcast episode called "Prank or Crime."
So Bart scratches his fingernails on a chalkboard, which is a reference to the movie Jaws, in which Quint, played by Robert Shaw, does the same thing. And Bart's like, "So it's a prank you want to do, huh?" And I like the little foreshadowing, or maybe this is like how Bart got the prank. There's a pig drawing on the board.
No, he drew that.
I don't know if he drew that or not.
Yes, he drew that because now he knows he drew it because why else would he start talking about kidnapping a pig if he didn't draw it?
How did he draw it? We never see him draw it. Maybe the nerds drew it.
No, he drew it because he started talking about kidnapping Sir Oinks a lot.
He had pictures. But he had pictures. Why did he need to draw a fucking pig?
Because that was the start of the conversation.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was the start of the conversation. He drew the pig, scratched his fingernails on the chalkboard. It was like, okay, pay attention, guys. I've got a prank for you.
The chalkboard having a pig on it he did not draw the pig.
What did he?
We never see him draw the pig. He didn't draw the pig.
Oh my God, you're such a crazy person. He
drew
the pig because he started talking about kidnapping a pig.
That doesn't have anything to do with it. The pig could have just been there.
Why would the pig just be there?
Why not? It's a chalkboard. People draw weird things on chalkboards.
Okay, if anything, the nerds would have drew a scientific equation on the chalkboard. Bart probably erased the scientific drawing on the chalkboard and drew the pig instead.
Why would he draw a pig? He doesn't need to draw the pig. There's no reason to draw the pig.
Oh, there's a lot, and I've already explained why. So keep going.
Anyways, we're moving on. So Bart starts going over his prank, and he's like, well, the only other college within a 50-mile radius is Springfield A&M.
So are we to believe that Springfield's radius is 50 miles? That doesn't seem right. Well, I guess he said within 50 miles, so 2 blocks down the road is... That's kind of funny. I'm like... Okay, all right. Let's put this into perspective. Okay, Springfield, let's say Springfield city limits surrounding... Okay, Minneapolis is, I'd say, radius.
Okay, this is a town of 30,000 people. Springfield is not that large.
No, but that's what I'm saying. So let's just put it in perspective. Edina, like city I live in, Edina. I would say the circumference of our town of Edina is maybe, I would say 10 miles, give or take 10 miles around the cluster of it. So Springfield, I wouldn't say is that large. I don't think Bart would have had to use 50 miles. I think he could have been 20 miles. There's no other college within 20 miles of this one.
Well, he said 50. So anyways, he moves on. He's like, well, they have a college mascot, Sir Oinks-a-Lot, which I'm pretty sure is a reference to Sir Mix-a-Lot.
Probably, yeah.
And so he's like, well, this pig gave Nixon an honorary diploma, and he's done other things, and so he's like, it's a huge thing. And Bart's like, let's pignap the pig. And then I love, like, they're all in agreement. And Homer's like, and then we'll roll it up in a carpet and throw it off a bridge.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
What is this obsession with rolling things in a carpet and throwing it off a bridge?
Okay, so years active for Sir Mix-a-Lot was 1979. So that's when he started. So 1979 to present was when he was active as Sir Mix-a-Lot. And so Nixon was president. Let's see.
What does this have to do with anything?
Because I want to see.
Nixon was president in the 80s.
Okay. So that would make sense then to have Sir Oinks-a-Lot be Sir Mix-a-Lot. Because, yeah, I was just trying to see if that matched up when Nixon was president and when Sir Mix-a-Lot was active as a rapper.
Yes, I could have told you that.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure the reference lined up.
It does.
Okay.
So then they decide to go to Springfield A&M. where their motto is, if you were a student here, you'd be home by now.
I love how that's like on a lot of apartments these days. They put that giant poster up on all apartments around town. If you lived here, you'd be home by now. Well, no shit.
Yeah.
Thank you for the obvious.
So then Homer, the guys steal the pig, and the pig is sitting on the trailer of the station wagon. And Homer is like, look, you can pull the pig's tail and it goes straight and it curls right back up.
Curly, straight.
Curly,
straight.
And then the pig bites him because Homer does it one too many times. Like, look, man, you don't screw with an animal that much.
Yeah.
Look at ornery and bite you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I guess I've never met a pig before. I feel like every time I've seen a pig...
Pigs can be assholes.
Oh, they can be. But every time I've ever seen a pig, they've never been wandering around. They just sit in their mud.
Yeah. So then we find out that Homer got the pig drunk. And they put the pig in a supply room with a couple other nerds.
Well, they had to hide it.
Yeah. And the pig, collapses because it got really, really drunk.
He faints.
Collapses, faints is the same thing.
I don't know. Because the dean is like, was that the sound of a pig fainting?
How did he hear that? It was in a supply, no.
It's a heavy pig. And it's
probably falling on a concrete floor.
Probably.
There's no way the dean heard it.
It was probably just down the hall.
So the dean finds the pig and he's like, I've never had to do this before, but I have to expel you because the pig has powerful friends. And then Nixon shows up.
Well, Nixon's pretty powerful.
Yeah. He's an ex-president. He's like, I'll get you for this, nerds. And so, Homer apologizes to the nerds, for getting them expelled. But the nerds are like, don't worry, Homer. We can take care of ourselves. And then, Snake rolls up and he's like, wallet inspector. Oh, sure. And they all give him his wallets. And I love how it's like, Homer's like, that's not the wallet inspector. Like, that's not a real thing, Homer. I mean, I guess technically, it is when, the wallets are made, they need to be inspected for, I guess, safety and, what's the word I'm looking for? To make sure they're good.
Which, that's to be determined how good an inspector is.
Yeah.
Because you know how many things, they need a pop inspector. That's what they need. They need a pop inspector because
they probably have a pop inspector. I'm sure. If a pop breaks in a box, it was an accident.
Yep, but here's what the pop inspector needs. They need to physically stand every single pop to make sure it doesn't fall over. Level surface, stands the pop, make sure it doesn't fall over. That's what they need. And so Homer, gets sad. He's like, oh man, I got these guys kicked out of college. They have nowhere to go. Snake just stole their wallets.
Yeah.
They could stay with me. So Homer brings the nerds home and, Homer says, they're smart. They'll be able to help us out. Mrs. Simpson, we all have nosebleeds. And Marge's like, for the love of God. So Marge knows this is a bad idea. Everyone pretty much knows that this is a bad idea. And so we see Marge over sitting on the couch, picks up the phone, and we've all been here. Okay. Yeah. Me and Robert and anyone over the age of 35 has gone through this problem.
I would say over the age of 30. I'm 34.
Right. Okay, let's go with it over the age of 30. I was thinking your birthday is coming up 35, so sorry, I jumped ahead a little bit.
Yeah. Making me older by 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. But anyways, you're right, probably the age of 30. So if you guys remember this, sitting at home, your dad or your mom is shooting a email through AOL or Netscape or what are some of the other older ones? I can't remember.
I don't remember. Get on with it.
Yes. So they're sending an email. They're looking at porn, whatever the case. And
they're not. We'll find out what they're doing in a second.
You pick up the phone and you hear this annoying beeping, janky sound, and you realize
I've never heard that sound in my life.
What are you talking about?
I use landlines.
You've never
Not once in my life was there ever interference over a phone.
You've never... Are you serious? You've never picked up the phone when me or someone else was on the internet to make a phone call?
Nope. Well, who was I going to call? I was 10.
Well, we had dial-up till we were just left college, I'm assuming.
No.
Oh, come on. We had to have dial-up. I had dial-up through high school, at least.
I never once... Who was I going to call?
I don't know.
I maybe made like 3 phone calls in my life on a landline.
I guess all your friends lived in our neighborhood, I guess.
Well, no. I mean, a lot of most of my friends did, but I had friends that lived out of the neighborhood.
Apparently you never called them then. Because I
don't call them now either. I text them.
Yeah. I'm talking about in the 90s. Dude, I called all my friends all the time, hanging out of the... Dude, I always got yelled at like my dad saying, dude, get off the phone. I want to use the internet. So...
God, could you imagine if that phrase was said today? Kids today would be like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yes, any kid that doesn't know what we're talking about right now, yes. You could not call and be on the internet at the same time. It did not exist. But that's where the buzzing sounds. So back to our original point before Robert apparently has never gone through this, even though I just stated that most of us probably went through this. But
I didn't have friends, okay?
But Marge,
thanks for bringing that up.
Yes, Marge picked up the phone and got the busy beeping buzzing noise, and the nerds are on the internet and they're in a discussion online in a chat room. Yes, kids, chat rooms existed too. Well, I guess chat rooms are kind of just Discord and all that stuff are kind of chat rooms. So I guess chat rooms never really went away. But they're discussing who is a better Star Trek captain, Kirk or Picard. And I'm sure we just started a fireball of comments on our Facebook page due to this commentary.
Yeah.
And everyone's blowing up. Dude, this should be my trivia Tuesday. who's a better captain, Kirk or Picard?
Captain Lando Calrissian.
Right. I don't know. I think it's Han Solo.
Han Solo wasn't I guess technically.
Yes, he was. He was captain of the Millennium Falcon.
But this is the first instance we get a reference to the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, also known as MIT.
Yes. And so they're discussing that. That's why Marge can't make a phone call. And so now we cut to super classic part of this episode right here. So Bart and Lisa are watching Itchy and Scratchy, the burning down the mouse, which is, the burning down the house by the Talking Heads.
Is that a reference to the Talking Heads song?
Probably. I would have to imagine that is. But this is the second Talking Heads reference this episode. So
if it is an actual reference to the Talking Heads.
Yes. This is apparently the episode where Scratchy finally gets itchy. And we see why. He's being loaded up with bombs, plastic explosives, a nuclear bomb, TNT, everything.
So it probably was... sorry for interrupting. Burning Down the House by the Talking Heads was released in July of 1983.
Oh, yeah. Definitely a reference.
So probably a reference to the Talking Heads.
Yep. And so
anyways, continue.
Yes, and so after he gets all the dynamite underneath Itchy's eyelids and in his ears and completely surrounded by explosive devices, the TV goes dark when Bart says, "My purpose in life is to witness this moment." And I really can't say that anything's been on TV except for maybe the Cubs winning the World Series. I think I probably said that for the Cubs winning the World Series.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I really can't think of anything else. And just as Itchy is about to blow up Scratchy, or the other way around, the TV goes out and Bart and Lisa scream. And one of the nerds is like, "Hey, I unplugged the TV for the rock tumbler. Plug it in. What? The rock tumbler or the TV? The TV. And then he plugs it in, and it's just kind of an explosion on the screen, and then it cuts to Krusty the Clown. Wow! They'll never let us show that again. Not in a million years. Until the DVD of it comes out and you could watch it.
Maybe they won't release it on DVD though. Maybe it was so outrageous. They're like, no, we can't put that on the DVD.
I'm sure it was leaked onto the internet. I'm sure.
I mean, this is by the way, this is the first episode of The Simpsons where they actually mention the internet.
Yeah. So, I think it's kind of funny to think that someone as crazy as us as kids, I wouldn't put it past anyone to record it on VHS, right? I would say some kid would probably record it. 2, if they didn't have a VCR, because VCRs were starting to get relatively popular, they hook up their camcorder on a tripod and point it at the TV to make sure it gets recorded. So I'm sure at some point, Bart and Lisa would be able to rewatch this episode again somewhere on the internet. Or on a DVD, or maybe not DVD, maybe VHS. I could see someone recording it live.
Yeah.
But yeah, the nerds, man. The nerds have got to go. The nerds have to go. This is ridiculous. And so Bart is playing with knives and, tells Homer, start digging some nerd holes.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. And, Homer wants to work it out, but Marge's like, I want those geeks out of my house. First terminology for geeks, too.
Yeah.
Oh, Marge pulling out the geeks, Bart pulling out the nerds. Got to get them out. And so Homer comes up with a plan to get the nerds back into college. And, Homer wants the nerds to, save the dean's life because Homer's going to push him in front of him. It's like, okay, we're going to push the dean out of the way in 3 seconds. Should we calculate wind resistance? And they're like, yeah. And then Homer runs him over.
Yeah.
With his car.
Because they're too busy arguing or discussing like wind resistance and crap like that.
Yep. Should have known.
And so, we go to the hospital and, Homer basically says everything was his fault. So the dean's like, all right, I'll reinstate you guys and we'll just forget the whole thing happened.
No, he's like, I'm sorry for the running you over prank.
Prank? So Hibbert shows up and he shows the dean what his new hip is going to look like, and the hip replacement joint thingy breaks.
Yep.
It's like
you're gonna have to take it very easy on this.
Yeah. So the nerds want to thank Homer, and Homer's like, it's okay because we wrapped up all the loose ends except for the thing about Homer graduating from college.
Yeah.
The one thing, the original reason why he was.
The whole reason this episode even existed in the first place.
So, we get a montage of the nerds helping Homer study for his final exam. And, he takes it. He's like super confident. And the professor's going over his answers. And he takes out a stamp and stamps it as an F.
I like how he didn't even take like the red pen and mark answers wrong. Yeah. He just skimmed all the answers F. Like, how does he know? How does he know?
He's probably graded so many of the exams and he just happens to know the answers.
He memorized all the multiple choice answers.
Or maybe he had a thing, he had a cheat sheet of what the answers were supposed to be.
Oh, I think I remember those. Wasn't that like how our standardized testings worked before they had the computer system? They had like the punch block, like all the correct answers, and you could put it over the multiple choice and you could tell which ones had bubbles and which ones didn't. I think that was a thing. If I'm remembering correct, because I was a TA for my 7th grade English teacher.
I was a TA in Spanish in high school, but I don't remember. I never had to do the bubble sheets because those were computerized.
Yeah, I think it was kind of right between us, like when computers did all the bubble sheets. We had to do them all by hand.
Yeah. So Homer is sad because, he's going to lose his job, and the nerds are like, well, we could just change your grade with the computer, but we'd have to think about the ethical and moral dilemmas. But Homer is like, he like climbs on the computer and starts kissing. He's like, ethical, what's it?
Yeah.
And so, Homer, so we come back to the house and Homer shows Marge that he got an A+, but he's like, he basically told her that they changed the grade with the computer.
Yeah.
And Homer's like, well, I think we all learned a lesson. And Homer's like, I learned this. And Lisa's like, no, you didn't. You just changed your grade on the computer. And the nerds didn't learn anything. But Marge learned that Homer needs to set a good example for Bart. And that's why he's going to go to college and take the class all over again.
Now, who's paying for this college? Is Burns paying for the college?
Yeah, why not?
I guess. I feel like Homer should have to pay for it.
Yeah, so Homer's like, well, I guess it's back to college. And nerds, what did I teach you? It's time to party down. And so we get the song Louie Louie playing over the credits, and we get snapshots from scenes from the episode, as well as other snapshots of pictures of Homer. So we get a couple of like some from the actual episode, but then we get Homer water skiing in a toga, a food fight, Homer getting hazed by a fraternity where he's butt naked and getting spanked with like one of those paddles. Homer shoving nerds as well as other people into a phone booth. And for those of you who don't know what a phone booth is, it's a thing they used to use back in the time when cell phones didn't exist. Homer in a football uniform, and he appears to be in a stadium getting chased by the nerds in a tank. Homer and the Dean rocking out in the background with Nixon in the foreground with a bra on his head. Yeah. Homer pushing the Dean into a pool.
Now that's a good prank.
That's a good prank. And then finally we get Homer graduating, and he's clearly not wearing anything underneath his gown, and his gown is on backwards because you can see the audience in the like with their mouths wide open, and it looks like I think one of the students is trying to like get to Homer. Yep. And so this is classic Simpsons. It is a fantastic episode. You get nerd. It's just really good. It's a great parody of like those National Lampoon movies. Yep. It's really good. The jokes are there. It's just it's good. I have no words. 5, everything's coming up Milhouse.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've mentioned this before. A lot of my 5s are straight up episodes that don't have a B story. I mean, this was literally all A story from front to back. It, flowed really well. It didn't have any real downturns. I mean, it's funny to see Homer go back to college, even though he probably should have already done that. Burning his high school diploma and the SMRT bit, that thing's just absolutely hilarious. The references are good too. I mean, you get Monty Python a couple times, Talking Heads a couple times.
The Maltese Falcon.
The Let's Make a Deal thing is hilarious. I absolutely love that.
The mystery box.
Yeah. I mean, it's absolutely funny. So for me, 5, everything's coming up Milhouse. I mean, there's no reason no one should go out and watch this episode. And the nerds, the cool thing is this isn't the last time we're going to see these nerds either.
Nope.
Like, they were such good characters on The Simpsons that they brought them back for other bits throughout The Simpsons. So it's definitely really cool to see this episode be a really good introduction to, other characters in the show. So let's finish it off with our character profile. And this week we're going to get 3 characters. Our good nerds, Benjamin, Doug, and Gary. And their position in the community is nerd physics students and dorm roommates at Springfield University. Identifying marks, Gary wears a calculator on his hip. Doug is the fat one, and he wears a pocket protector. And Benjamin wears black-rimmed glasses and has the most pronounced overbite. So as we know, like all the Simpsons characters have that overbite aspect to their drawing, which is really cool. But yeah, his is just slightly. He's kind of like a Hermes. Kind of reminds me of a Hermes overbite from Futurama. Yeah. Even his face kind of reminds me of a slimmed up Hermes.
I mean, it's the same creator, so
yeah. I'm guessing a lot of the same artists too. Maybe some of the same animators. Their favorite game, Computer Solitaire.
Yep.
Their turn-ons, Monty Python routines, Star Trek conversations, and
Star Trek conventions.
Yes, and conversations. And conventions. I'm sure they like talking about Star Trek too. And individually wrapped slices of American cheese, which...
I thought that was Homer Simpson.
Apparently it's both. And that, the next episode, stay tuned, folks, because we get the American cheese bit. So stay tuned. Their pet peeve is geeks on the internet who insist that Captain Picard is better than Captain Kirk, Or maybe I was trying to say Captain Kirk is better than Picard.
It doesn't matter what you think.
Mr. Simpson, we all have nosebleeds. Yes, they do. All right, guys. So come check us out on our social medias. You can head over to Facebook, The Simpsons Did It podcast. And I got a really cool announcement, and I didn't even know this existed until very recently. Facebook actually allows you to put your podcast on our Facebook page.
Oh, sweet.
Yes. So I had to put in the RSS feed and link it and do all that fun jazz. So now there's a tab. So when you go to our Facebook page, all the tabs that are across the top, one of those tabs reads podcasts. So now all you have to do is click that tab and click our episode, and it plays it right through Facebook.
Nice.
So I feel like now there's literally no reason for everyone not to listen to us. Because I guess most of you spend hours a day on Facebook. So there's no reason that you can't scroll through Facebook and listen to our podcast at the same time.
Yeah.
So you're welcome for not having to open up an additional app to listen to us. So you could find us over on Instagram, The Simpsons Did It Pod. On Twitter, The Simpsons Did It PC. And then if you'd like to donate to our podcast, check us out on buymeacoffee.com/Simpsons Did It. And, feel free to donate to our cause, and we'll send you some free stickers. And all your donations hopefully will go towards other merch in the future. And lastly, make sure to check out our channel on YouTube, The Simpsons Did It podcast, where you can find all of our old backlogged episodes. So go check it out there, subscribe, and comment, and we'll mention your comments on the air. And finally, if you'd like to leave us a voicemail, feel free to give us a phone call, 612-584-0986. Check out our awesome voicemail message by the wonderful Jaden LeBron, and leave us a voicemail and let us know what you think of the podcast, what you like to know about upcoming episodes, questions you might have for us to answer. So until next time, I'm Steven Skolansky.
I'm Robert Skolansky.
And this has been The Simpsons Did It.
Shh.